His last name is He, and we'll call him Zhao He. Zhao He is a post-90s native of China. When he was in the 8th grade, he caught a cold. It wasn't very serious at first. He just thought it was a common headache and fever. He didn't pay much attention to it, took some cold medicine, and figured he'd be fine in a few days. Little did he know that this seemingly insignificant cold would get worse and worse. Not only did he have a continuous high fever, but it eventually turned into pneumonia. This made the situation much more serious. Because of this cold, Zhao He ended up spending a whole year in the hospital. He finally got his health back on track, but he had missed an entire year of school. After recovering, he didn't want to repeat a grade, so he just toughed it out through the 9th grade and ended up going to a vocational high school. Fast forward to 2009. When Zhao He graduated from vocational high school, his major was computer science, but the school had arranged some internship positions for them. That had nothing to do with his major restaurant service jobs. In the end, after studying computers for so long, Zhao He ended up working in the kitchen of a large restaurant, cleaning fish. Zhao He didn't look down on this job at all, but it was definitely awkward for him, because he had never done anything like it before. When he started at the restaurant, there was a chef who showed him the ropes. Every day he would change into his work clothes in the kitchen. Whenever a customer ordered fish, he would grab a large knife, pull a fish out of the tank, press it onto the cutting board and start cleaning it, removing the scales, gutting it and getting it ready for cooking. The restaurant he worked at was quite large and well managed. The kitchen was organized with clear divisions of labor, and the restaurant had a good reputation. Zhao He later thought that if he had settled down and worked hard, he could have done well there. But Zhao He was young at the time. He and a few classmates who were also interning at the restaurant were all disappointed. The work environment was nothing like what they had imagined. The kitchen work was tough, no air conditioning, constant smoke and grease, and the job was monotonous. They spent their days mechanically washing dishes, serving food, cleaning fish, and doing other kitchen tasks. Soon, all of them, including Zhao He, decided they couldn't handle the hard work and quit one after another. After quitting, Zhao He couldn't just stay at home, and he needed to find a new job. Many companies, seeing his vocational high school diploma, shook their heads and refused to give him a chance. So he spent his days running around, submitting resumes everywhere, hoping to get an interview. After more than half a month of searching, he still hadn't found a new job. Just when he was getting anxious, an old friend called him and asked, "Hey, what are you up to? Do you have a job?" "Zhao," he replied, "No, I just quit my job and I'm looking for a new one." His friend said, "I just started my own business and I'm swamped. How about you come and help me out? We can work together." Zhao He was thrilled and said, "Sure, I'm really in need of a job right now." He thought to himself, "I'm so relieved. When there's a will, there is a way." This job opportunity came just in time, and it's from a good friend. They agreed to meet up and talk things over. Zhao He's friend, whose last name is Shi, is 2 years older than Zhao He. The two had been close since childhood, often playing together and having a strong bond. Shi's aunt runs a business that handles business license applications and provides accounting and financial management services. Many small and micro businesses unfamiliar with the complex procedures of starting a company rely on such intermediaries to handle these formalities. Shi's aunt has been in this line of work for many years and has built up a good client base, making her business quite successful. After she graduated from high school and didn't do well in the college entrance exam, he and his family decided that instead of going to a junior college, he would work in his aunt's company. Xiao Shi's academic performance was average, but he was very quick-witted and soon mastered the entire process of running the business. After working for 2 years, with the support and permission of his aunt, he opened his own intermediary company. At that time, the business had just started and there weren't many clients, so he didn't plan to hire anyone from outside. He decided to work with a familiar face. And since Zhao He had just quit his job and was having trouble finding a new one, he quickly agreed to join Zhao Shi's company. Zhao Shi, being a good friend, offered Zhao He a decent base salary with commissions. Zhao He was very satisfied, and the company even provided meals. Zhao He helped Zhao Shi with the procedures and handled some clerical work. The two of them worked well together, and it felt like they were starting their own business. Initially, their office was located on the first floor of an apartment complex near the local business administration office. Zhao He followed Zhao Shi and gradually learned the ropes. He quickly picked up how to handle business licenses, approvals, and other procedures. He became familiar with what documents were needed, which windows to visit at the business, administration, and tax offices, and how much everything cost. The two of them had clear roles and worked efficiently. When there was no work, they would take a break in the office and chat. However, after a little over 2 months, the landlord of their office approached Zhao Shi and said he wanted to take back the space. This was unexpected, and Zhao Shi was caught off guard. The company was just getting started, and losing the office meant they had to find a new place to work. So while Zhao Shi was busy looking for a new office, Zhao He was left to handle all the clients on his own, which was quite overwhelming. But he had to persevere and live up to his friend's trust. A few days later, Zhao Shi told Zhao He, "Don't worry, I've found a new place. And it's much better than our previous spot in the apartment building." "Where is it, Zhao?" he asked. "In a hotel in Chengdu, on the 13th floor. I rented a room there. The location is great and the price is reasonable. I'll sort everything out quickly and we'll move soon. We'll be settled then." Zhao He was also very happy to hear this. That evening, after work, the two of them went to check out the new office. When they arrived on the 13th floor of the hotel, they were impressed. The place was really nice, clean, and well maintained. Bringing clients here would be much better than the previous location, which was in a residential area and hard to find. However, there was one thing that struck Zhao He as a bit odd. The walls of the room on the 13th floor were different from those in a typical hotel room. As anyone who has stayed in a hotel knows, hotel walls are usually painted or sometimes covered with wallpaper. But in this room, except for the door ceiling and windows, all the walls were covered with a thick layer of craft paper. This was quite strange. The paper was thick but well smoothed, with visible textures, and it covered all the walls completely. Zhao He asked Zhao Shi, "Why are the walls covered with craft paper?" "Zhao," she replied, "I was also puzzled when I rented the place. I asked the property management, and they said that this floor used to be hotel guest rooms. The kids staying here were naughty and left footprints all over the walls, which were hard to clean. Guests complained, so they decided to cover the walls with craft paper. It solved the problem, and now it's kept this way for rental purposes. It won't affect your work, so don't worry." Zhao Shi had rented this office directly from the hotel's property management, and the price was quite reasonable, about 40% cheaper than other rooms on the same floor. Since the company was in its early stages, any savings were welcome. Zhao Shi thought it was a good deal, so they decided to go for it. Over the next few days, the two of them moved all their office furniture and supplies, desks, sofas, chairs, computers, and various other items, to the new location. Once everything was set up, they officially moved into their new office. Zhao Shi also gave Zhao He a key to the office and said, "From now on, we'll start work here at 9 a.m. We'll be business people coming in and out of a hotel." The two of them were very excited and celebrated with a drink. From then on, they began working in the hotel and everything went smoothly. About a month later, one evening just before closing time, Zhao Shi's girlfriend came to the office to find him. Zhao He joked, "What's the occasion today? Your girlfriend came specially to pick you up." Zhao Shi grinned and said, "You, a single guy, wouldn't know what day it is today, would you? It's Qixi Festival, also known as Chinese Valentine's Day. My girlfriend and I had planned to watch a movie together tonight. I'm telling you, you'll have to open the door tomorrow morning. I definitely won't be able to come early. If there's any work, you'll have to keep an eye on it." After finishing his work, Zhao He locked the door and went home. The next morning, which was the 8th day of the 7th lunar month in 2009, Zhao He woke up very early. He couldn't get back to sleep, which was strange, because he usually woke up to his phone alarm, which had to go off several times before he got up. It was rare for him to wake up naturally. He looked at the clock and saw it was only about 6 in the morning. He felt restless and couldn't fall back asleep, so he decided to get up. Surprisingly, he wasn't sleepy at all. After getting ready and tidying up, he headed to the company. The roads were clear in the morning, and what usually took half an hour only took him 10 minutes that day. They usually started work at 9. But when he arrived at the restaurant entrance, he checked his watch and saw it was only 6:50. He was over 2 hours early. He took the elevator to the 13th floor and walked down the corridor to the company's door. The corridor was empty since it was still too early. There were many other companies on this floor, including accounting, legal consulting, and yoga fitness studios, all of which would open at 9. Zhao He took out his key, as usual, and inserted it into the lock, turning to the left to open the door. But the key wouldn't turn. He was puzzled. Had he gone to the wrong door? He stepped back and looked up. No, it was definitely his company's door. He pulled the key out, checked it, and confirmed it was the right one. He inserted it again and tried to turn it to the left with more force, but it still wouldn't budge. His first thought was that the lock was old and needed oil. He tried to pull the key out, but it was stuck in the lock, unable to be turned or pulled out. The whole bunch of keys was now hanging on the door. He tried several times, but the key wouldn't move. He felt frustrated and a bit anxious. He thought about going down to the hotel lobby, but he couldn't leave the key stuck in the lock. He tried again and again, but it was no use. He was determined to get the key out, so he twisted it with both hands, being careful not to break it. Slowly, he managed to turn the key a little, but it was very difficult. He felt like there was a hand on the other side of the door, gripping the handle tightly and preventing him from opening it. He had one thought in his mind: open the door and see what was inside. He ignored the strange feeling and twisted the key with all his might. His hands turned red from the effort, and finally, with a click, the door opened. A small gap appeared, and Zhao He let go of the key, which was still in the lock. He didn't immediately push the door open. He wondered if Zhao Shi might be inside, but he quickly dismissed the thought. It seemed unlikely. He hesitated for a few seconds, standing at the entrance and looking into the room. There was no one inside, but he had an uneasy feeling that something was off. He couldn't quite put his finger on what felt off.